Madame la Présidente,
President, distinguished members, thank you for the many messages which have been addressed, ventilated. First of all, climate. Last week was agenda item number 1 last week at the Council. Thank you for your words of encouragement, but we recognise the scale of the work that remains to be done, and it's clearly essential for us to work towards 2030 as we prepare for the next COP in Glasgow, and we will undertake the necessary evaluation to make progress there. Second element. Yes, this was an important act last week in the European Council, and it was unanimous. Net zero by 2050, and one member state considered that more time was necessary, and I'll come back specifically to that in the course of June at the European Council. The third element, we have opened up the building site of enlargement to be credible and realistic. The financing is necessary. We'll continue over the next few months, and we are looking at the next budget and beyond. Now, I believe that a strong position by the European authorities, the European Green Deal, climate objectives up until 2050, this gives the institutions a clear pathway internationally, particularly next year with the summit with China, because that is also part of the success of the conclusions. It creates conditions whereby Europe tomorrow will be a champion of the green economy. That's good for prosperity, good for stability, good for development, and also bring a dividend for innovation. And whatever the impatience is that one can hear, the distance we've come in a few months since Sibiu 2019, only 9 countries of 27 shared the objective for net zero by 2050. A few months later, unanimity, and that's a very strong signal to send out. Fourthly, the budget. I agree with what was said by Mr Weber and by other distinguished members of Parliament. This is a very difficult building site, and before the summit last week, I spent a lot of time, distinguished members, to meet en tête-à-tête with many leaders to understand the positions and the leeway for compromise. But it's important that there is political coherence and consistency, and we are beginning to see the direction of travel. It's right that there are limits to capacity for action under the European budget, but I have around me economists, leaders who talk to their national parliamentarians, who have their majorities in the many national parliaments, and I'm sure that they'll all be able to put their shoulder to the wheel to get political consistency, coherence at the European level surrounding the same message, which will be borne forth by the political parties with the electorate behind them. And now, finally, Malta and the state of law, the rule of law. Let me respond very clearly to this important issue. The rule of law is fundamental. It's a founding value of the European Union, and the assassination of a journalist is first and foremost a tragedy for the family and for the friends. But beyond the personal drama, for the tragedy for the families, this was a serious assault on press freedoms, which are fundamental to the European project to which we all subscribe and which brings us together. Investigations are underway. They must be based on the principle of the rule of law, the separation of powers, and it's for the European institutions, each in its various ways, and indeed the European Parliament, to bring its own reflection on the subject. And I will not shirk my responsibilities whenever the rule of law needs to be protected, and I am happy to meet with the family of the journalist who was assassinated. And now finally, one more word on Brexit. And let me repeat one more time that going back to the referendum almost 3 years ago, from the start, I have expressed my respect for the position expressed during that referendum by the British people. I may regret that decision, but I respect the decision taken by the British electorate. European Council last week, Michel Barnier has restated this with a great deal of detail. This is marching orders for the next stage. We know what we want, we know the direction of travel, we know that transparency and unity are going to hold the key for loyal negotiations. We will defend the European interest, a level playing field, and we have a vested interest in protecting the internal market as well. And I would recommend a dose of tranquility and calm. That is my spirit. We must rally round. And there are those in this Assembly who have said that we were practicing an insult and an injury. But I must say that we will not allow ourselves to be browbeaten or intimidated by that kind of sterile controversy. We will face that with calm and determination because we are strong and united, and we want a good relationship going forward with the United Kingdom. And can I just, in conclusion, repeat my deep conviction and my ambition, my confidence that what we are undertaking is based on common sense. These are the stars which must guide us, and let's not forget that all of our institutions have a job to do, and we are defending the aspirations and the dreams and the hopes of so many European citizens, and this will be our guiding light for the future. Thank you very much.